Take a look at the articulation on this thing. Lifting wheels, baby.
Big off-road guy.
Hardcore. Jordan, we have ourselves a drag race. There's Jessica. We're in wide open watts. I don't know if you guys are. Prepare to lose. Sophion's in the other truck over there.
Oh yeah.
Jordan's ready. Are you gonna brake torque it? Ah, Sophion, we're whipping. Jessica's weird. Yeah. That was awesome. Whoa, 60. This video is brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world. They are also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to somewhere in Michigan and welcome to the Chevy Silverado EV. On this channel, Jordan, who's behind the camera, you and I have done so much with electric pickup trucks over the last few months. I've daily driven an electric pickup truck for years now. I had my Rivian R1T, still have it, of course, love that vehicle. I now have a Tesla Cybertruck, of course, interesting vehicle. And this one is now the consumer version of the Silverado that I'm able to bring to you for the first time. We're able to drive it, experience it. On this channel before, we have done a lot with those over there, both the 3WT and the 4WT version. Those are the fleet only sort of bare bones, stripped down Silverado EVs. But now this is going all the way to the top spec with every option: Super Cruise, air suspension, adaptive damper. But the most important thing for an electric pickup truck is the battery pack. This is the big 24 module, well over 200 kilowatt hour usable battery pack that makes this the most useful pickup truck currently on sale. And in this video, you're going to be joining me and Jordan as we drive it for the first time. So join me for a full tour, a test drive with towing and also unloaded, as we explore everything about the top spec Chevy Silverado EV. Jordan, how's it going?
Great. Nice out here in Michigan, a little humid.
First time ever it's actually good weather when we're in Michigan.
Yeah, it was lovely last night. Great sunset.
Yeah, last night was great. So we are here driving both the Silverado EV RST and the Equinox EV. And we can tell everyone about the Equinox a week from the time this video goes up.
Correct.
So I'm really looking forward to that one. We've already mentioned that we've done everything with the work truck variants. Jordan, we've driven these across the country. We've towed with them. We've gone off-roading with them. We did a track day in one of these, actually, which was hilarious.
Done everything.
Literally everything. You know, to over 10,000 miles in a couple different work trucks.
3WT and 4WT, yeah.
So we're super familiar with Silverado, which I think a lot of people that are coming to review this have not even driven the work truck yet.
Yep.
So we come in with a lot of Silverado EV experience, a lot of Ultium experience. We really know the platform of this truck in and out. And so what's interesting is we're going now from the base stripped down version, which there's actually an even baser one. I don't even know. What do you remove out of work truck? You take the truck out or the work out? So they have one that has like nothing in it now, which is even cheaper, which is cool. And you can still get the big batteries in those. So we're going from base to literally maxed out 24s on this thing.
18s or 24s.
Yeah. Those are the only two wheel sizes available in Silverado EV, are 18-inch wheels or 24-inch wheels.
Yeah.
There will be more versions coming in the future. An LT is coming down the line.
This year, and then Trail Boss next year.
Trail Boss next year. That one I'm really looking forward to. It shouldn't be like super hardcore off-roady, but it's good for Colorado. Trail Bosses are always kind of neat. So let me just walk everyone through what we're going to be driving in this video. In terms of the platform, it's the same basic architecture as the work truck. It's really long. You get an over 10-foot, 10-inch bed by the time you fold the Midgate, which we're certainly going to explore, which is really cool. And it comes with some positives and negatives we're finding out already. So more to come on a lot of this. We have the big battery, the double stack, 240 kilowatt hour gross. GM doesn't quite quote that, but that's how my calculations come out to be, about 215 kilowatt hour usable. The truck's actually a 400 volt truck. It's actually like low 300 volts, somewhere around there. And then when you plug it into a high power DC charger through the CCS charging port, no NACS yet, it will actually combine both of those individual battery pricks from running in parallel and wire them in series, so you hear a little ka-junk, so that you get the benefits of a higher voltage charging. It's not quite 800 volts, but you're in the high 6s, low 7s. And what that means is this not only has the most amount of range of any electric pickup truck, it also has the fastest charging of any electric pickup truck. Cybertruck will do 330 kilowatt charging peak. We've shown that many times on our truck. This will do 380 kilowatt peak, plus or minus, and hold it deep in the pack. I mean, you can add 100 kilowatt hours into this battery pack in like no time at all. It's crazy.
So explain why in the marketing materials they only say 350 kilowatt peak.
I don't think they've tested on anything higher. I've gotten way more than 350 kilowatt charging on these things.
Because in their words, it'll do 350 kilowatts per hour.
Oh, is that what GM said?
Yeah.
350 kilowatts per hour?
Yep.
What? Okay, we need to give like everyone on the marketing team here like an EV overview of like, anyway.
Moving on.
Moving on. 80 amp onboard charger. I mean, it's got the big boy stuff here, which is great. So you can do 19.2 kilowatt charging at home, which this is actually kind of a case for you do want some high power home AC charging. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's 100 grand. Not bad.
Yeah.
You get the battery alone has got to be half of that. I don't know. This is a huge amount of energy capacity.
Yeah, interior fit and finish, not so much 100 grand to me, but we'll get to that. It's but in terms of functional truck stuff, just the range alone. Yeah.
So the big thing for me is I tow a lot with my Rivian. I tow a lot with my Cybertruck. If you haven't watched the video that went up about a week ago, we just towed a 911 with our Cybertruck, drag racing another 911, simulating what Tesla did. We really use our electric trucks, and this is the one that is really the only option as of today if you are going to do long distance towing, because it has the charging performance, it has the thermal performance as we've shown with the work truck, and it has the range, the capacity where you can just go. So, you know, screw efficiency, throw a bunch of batteries in this thing. It's awesome. The RST also comes with, of course, big wheels, but upgraded steering package. We now have a rear steer 7.5 degrees, which is not enough. I thought it would do like Hummer EV where it would like, you know, spin on a dime. We're certainly going to play around with the rear steering on this, see how it feels different from the Hummer. A lot of the components are part shared. This is a dual motor system, same motors as the work truck, except now with 750 horsepower, plus or minus.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Maybe even more than that, yeah.
Anyway, the thing weighs 9,000 pounds, Jordan. I can actually tell you exactly how much this vehicle weighs because unlike Ford, GM puts all the information on the car display. Thank you very much. So right here, it will tell us the curb weight is 8,953 pounds.
Wow, they kept it under 9.
It's under 9, and it can tow 10,000 pounds with 1,000 pounds of tongue weight, which eats into your payload, which means you can't really put 4 people in this vehicle and 10,000 pounds in the back of it.
Not a great payload. 1,500 is not classic.
What happens when you put a big ass battery in your truck? I mean, this battery weighs a ton. You can get more payload and more towing capacity with a smaller battery.
Yep.
So the 3 work truck, the one that we rented from Hertz to do the cross-country trip in, which if anyone wants to drive one of these, just go to Hertz. Every location seems to have like Silverado work trucks now. It's awesome. That one can tow 12,500 pounds, class-leading electric towing, and has more payload capacity as well. We're going to show everyone the tailgate, the bed size, the midgate, because that's a really important part of this truck. But what I'm really curious about is towing. That's where this makes sense. Rivian is an amazing daily driver. F-150 Lightning is really comfortable and it looks like a normal F-150 and it's normal. The reason I think you go for Silverado is if you're actually going to use it for work. If you're going to use it for towing, if you're going to go do long distance stuff, this is the only option on the market right now. Sierra will be coming. I think Stellantis is going to do some crazy stuff with their Ram electric in the future as well. But at this moment in time, these are now shipping to dealers. This is the only option. So what I want to do is tow a boat. And it's not just any boat. This is an electric boat.
Perfect.
Do we know anything about the Forza Electric X1?
I have done no actual research on Forza. I've recently tested the Arc Sport.
Okay.
But that's, you know, coming soon, basically.
Is that video on this channel?
Yeah, it will be by this time is done.
Okay.
Yeah. So that video is available, but I wasn't allowed to drive it. It was very definitely pre-production. It was like, whereas this looks like
this is like
ready.
a boat.
Yeah.
And I also tested the Macan EV powered Frauser boat in when I was in France.
So you tested the like Rolls-Royce boat.
Yeah, that thing was like 600 something thousand.
I went and tested the more affordable $250,000 one. I bet this one's a bit cheaper. Smaller battery, more simplified design.
Yeah, someone from Forza will be here. Maybe we'll even make a video. We should arrange getting this on the lake somehow.
Sure, yeah.
So anyway, this what we're going to do sort of right away is I just want to drive it. We've spent so much time driving work truck that I just want to focus on the differences, the overall impression of driving this truck. But the most important thing to me is towing, and that's where we start, Jordan.
Great.
So let's get in. We'll talk more specs, more numbers, more everything as we go through the video. A little bit untraditional for us. And then in a week from today, make sure you guys tune back in because we'll have the Equinox EV, and that's the one I really want to dig into because that'll be our first time driving that platform and the Equinox vehicle. Looking forward to that for sure. So, Silverado EV RST, towing. Any final thoughts, Jordan?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Jordan, we're driving the Silverado EV RST for the first time. So we have essentially the same drivetrain as the trucks we've done a bunch of towing with, but with a completely different suspension system and more power.
Yep.
And they even let you use this button in the drive modes, which is called wide open watts. And wide open watts is like full send mode, but we're in tow haul with full send.
That's cool.
Love that.
It's kind of like the Hummer's Watts to Freedom. They needed a different acronym though. So.
Right, so it's WOW.
Wow.
But we have a glass roof in here. I mean, we'll take everyone on a full tour in a little bit, but this is what matters to me.
Yep.
Can it tow? So let me get all set up. The drive modes there's like used to be a tow mode by your left knee in this setting down here. It's now in the drive modes, which we're in tow haul. This one, you can see you can set up a bunch of light tests. We'll go through all of this in the rustic ring when we're able to. If you're really curious how the Silverado EV tows, I think we have like a full hour-long towing review with the work truck already, towing maximum 10,000 pounds.
Which should be super similar. That's like the more hardcore towing test. This is 6,100 pound load right now.
Yeah, so rear steer is working in tow mode.
Nice.
That's interesting and cool. So here we go, heading out now. And we have 6,100 pounds on the back of this thing is what they told us, which seems, not super heavy.
Yeah, so they're not pushing it, which is maybe intentional. These journalist drives are usually catered to the perfection of how will the truck do it.
Right, yes, exactly. But it's still cool. I mean, they were like, here's a truck with a trailer. We could choose a box or a boat. They said we could take both too, but we're going to take this one. And
he said we're good to go, so.
Okay, see you later. Thanks.
And part of this perk of this route, of course, it's prescribed, but the reason is because this road is actually mapped for Super Cruise. So they took us on one of the few roads mapped, not few, I mean, they're increasing every day, but we now have Super Cruise with trailering. This is the only truck in the industry that has, I guess, lanes centering with trailing. That's what they're saying anyways.
Yeah, that's great. So that was Jessica and Matt Moran. So nice to see the friends out having some fun.
Yeah, everyone's checking out the truck. It'll be fun to deliberate over dinner.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's a few differences instantly from the standard truck, Jordan. I have a regen paddle here.
Nice.
This is a vehicle that can do just about 400 kilowatts of regen. At least the Hummer EV can. So we also have a trailer without trailer brakes on it. So I think, because I have a trailer brake controller, it doesn't do anything. It's a hydraulic, sort of one of those push pin situations. So here we are heading out. Now, we have towed with the Rivian a bunch. We have towed with Cybertruck. We have towed with Lightning. Towing with electric's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
And
our new niche.
What's wild about towing with Silverado is just how stout these things feel. They are unbelievably stout while towing. I'm just curious about wide open watts. Should we just do a full throttle situation?
Yeah, see if the boat hangs on.
We'll come to slow speed. We're at 70% state of charge. And ready?
Yep.
Full throttle. Oh, you hear the inverters.
Wow.
Whoa, 60. That's what I mean about stout. It's like when you tow with the Cybertruck, it's crazy, it's fast. When you tow with the Rivian, it's crazy and fast. This thing just feels like torque machine.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as fast as those trucks, but it has so much power to get you out of the way. And because there's so much weight in the vehicle, you just feel it in the steering and you're constantly putting in, fighting a little bit of torque steer and stuff like that. But that's pretty impressive. So that's wide open watts. Certainly has enough power compared to any combustion truck.
Yes.
while towing.
Immediate issue with wide open watts is it forces the sound, the fake sound coming through which is just obnoxious.
Check this out.
Now it's
super
nice and
cruising with a trailer.
Holy
now I want to
cow.
get a little bit more comfortable with the trailer, make sure it doesn't induce any sway or anything like that. And I'm probably going to just drop the speed a little bit here because it is really cool that this is actually the only truck on the market to let you do hands-free lane centering.
Yep.
With a trailer. The F-150 Lightning will do lane centering with a trailer, but not hands-free. You got to keep your hands on the wheel. That feels safer to me.
Yeah, you probably should keep your hands on the wheel, but then here it won't alarm at you if you don't.
Right, so it's just doing its thing, and Super Cruise is now mapped off of pre-mapped highways. There are many B roads like this that it will work on, and even actually close to our home in Colorado, we were able to do the Hummer EV rustic ring, which hasn't gone up yet, but that we were able to do with Super Cruise as well. Yep. So it's really not my first time towing with Super Cruise, but a really cool thing.
And that was a bit of a lighter load. This one's a little bit heavier, still not maxed out, but
correct. Yeah, we're very far away from the maximum. And that's the thing with this truck is it's still showing, even after driving it like that, 170 miles at 70%, which would be roughly 200 and a bit miles at full with a boat, an electric heavy boat on the back.
Yeah.
No other electric truck can do that.
Yep.
That's why you buy one of these things.
It's just that rear charge port. That's...
Good point. The rear charge port is a major disappointment. We're going to swing by, hopefully in our truck that we're driving as well, a Tesla Supercharger, and show the Magic Dock situation if there's time today. But initial impression of driving the EV RST is like material usage, so much nicer than the work truck. The center console's really nicely sorted. You can like fold this thing all the way in and out, which is kind of cool.
Flexibility.
You have extra ports, wireless charger, some creaky plasticky stuff. Jordan, I know, I get it, but this is a truck.
You're right. It's a truck. It's got that, I wanted to say built Ford tough. That's the wrong brand. That tough build.
But we have a nice glass roof in this one.
Yep.
And certainly, you know, towing is a dream. I mean, you really can't tell there's anything behind you at the moment. Super Cruise is moving a little bit in lane, which I don't love. But how cool is this? My first time getting in this vehicle is with a trailer on the back of it, and it's hands-free cruising. Now, again, you can see it is, I don't know if I like this.
It feels a little freaky.
Yeah, I just gotta keep my hands close to the wheel. Okay, so I think that's the big thing. Everyone knows why you buy a Silverado EV. It's if you want the most range, the fastest charging, and of course the longest distance while towing.
It is like the most trucky of the trucks, of the electric trucks. And
absolutely.
Like you said, we've tested all of them, and they all do different things better than others.
Yes.
But this is just like, oh,
this is the Smackdown.
Yeah, this is like, oh, the other ones are like, you know, close in battery, but a little bit more, a little bit less. This one's like
twice as much.
A lot more.
Yeah, I mean, and that's honestly what we've been needing in the electric truck world is the hardcore Smackdown to Super Cruise, no road information. So that's where it ended there. What we've needed, of course, is the hardcore Smackdown for just a big ass battery in a truck.
Yeah.
And we can talk about all the other things, which we will, sound system, infotainment, all of these things are proven. But for many people who want to drive an EV, this is literally the only option that will work for them.
Yep.
Literally the only option. We're going to bring this back and do the full review on the RST, but towing 10 out of 10, even without wide open watts. The power.
That just, I can't tell it's a trailer. I mean, obviously I'm passenger seat, but that's pretty interesting. What's the trailer situation as far as maneuvering a trailer with rear wheel steering? Is that helpful or harder?
No, it's pretty helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, it just makes the truck, you know, a little bit more nimble and certainly is welcomed because a lot of the time maneuvering the trailer around with the work truck, because this is a huge vehicle.
Yep.
And it had a pretty good turning radius, like those wheels would go pretty hard lock, but just having the extra 7.5 degrees of rear steer on the rear axle, that's going to make a big difference in tight maneuvering, even with a trailer.
It is cool that you can easily turn that off. Cybertruck just now got the option to turn off rear steer, but only in off-road mode.
Correct. Yeah, there are situations where you do want to turn that off.
Yep.
And thankfully, yes, in this one you can turn it off, which is great. So, all right, let's go for a full tour now that we've driven this, which we'll talk about suspension, braking, everything else when we get into the car, into the truck without the trailer. But I will say, with the trailer, this thing rides nice.
It's nice, yeah. Let's just go to a lake.
Yeah, let's go dump this in a lake. I wonder if they put the keys in the Forza. Guys, just want to show you how you can turn the wheel all the way with rear steer with the trailer and just get huge angle on this thing. It's pretty unbelievable, actually. Having that rear steering capability with the trailer makes it very nimble. You do have to watch for tail swing if you have an axle on your trailer that's pretty far forward, because the trailer does kind of, you know, come around pretty quickly at that point, but it's so convenient. It's very, very nice. So yeah, really loving that. Backing up with rear steer as well just makes the truck get to the angle that I'm looking for it to get to even quicker. So this one is not equipped, by the way. You cannot get in Silverado the sort of see-through trailer stuff that Hummer has and other General Motors trucks have. I think that's kind of a bummer. It'd be great to have that pass-through rear view mirror, but just not available on Silverado EV RST, which I think is a miss. It's a shame. They have the tech. Yeah. Put it in your top electric truck. What do you think, Jordan? Yeah,
I mean, they're saving it for their like higher brand, because Chevy kind of is the quote-unquote base brand.
Yeah, so maybe the Sierra or Sierra Denali situation will have it. I don't know, but
that's my theory, but I don't know why else they would leave it out.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, the nice thing is physical park lock plus electronic parking brake. So it's really, you know, when you put this thing in park, hopefully it's not moving anywhere. A lot of things set for towing in this particular one. It's like, you know, they knew what people needed to do for work and they put it in here.
Great.
Hell yeah. Okay, let's get on with the normal first driver view, but this was the most important for me, so I'm glad we covered it first.
Kyle, you better go quickly. There's thunderstorm inbound.
Yeah, I'm hearing the thunder in the background right now. So this is going to be a non-very traditional out-of-spec abbreviated tour, but that's okay because, again, the work truck's been out. I've already shot a full tour. It was so fun. We just had lunch with all the engineers of this truck, and we had literally each person responsible for each core competency of the truck, and they're all out-of-spec viewers, which was awesome.
They're all nerds, which is great. I mean, they have to be for their job. But.
And so we were all talking about our truck comparisons and the cross-country race, and they all loved that. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool. They're like one of us. So that was really fun. Let's start with the frunk, which I'm sure they have a special name for it.
It's the E-trunk.
The E-trunk. So there's Mega Power frunk for Ford.
Yep.
The E-trunk.
Rivian's just the frunk.
And the Cybertruck's just the frunk.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's only two ones. Okay, here we go. We've got a Rams Nokian tire situation.
That's my bag. I just wanted to throw it up here. This is 10.7 cubic feet.
What is this? And why does it have like a twist on it?
That's so it doesn't fly around when you're doing track days in your Chevy Silverado EV.
I've never seen one through. Look at that. That's through a bag, Jordan.
I've never seen that. You're right.
I've never seen that in my life. What the heck? That's incredible. This is reason enough to buy this. This is the engineering innovation we've been looking for from General Motors.
Germans would never just poke a hole through
a bag. My God, it would never happen in Germany. Illegal. Okay, how cool is that?
So yeah, some comparisons. While he does this, the E-trunk, 10.7 cubic feet. Kyle, they were so close. Rivian's frunk is 11.
Wait, let me guess. Did you just say 11?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to guess probably 12.
Oh, well, I told you earlier, but I guess you forgot.
Yeah.
Guess what the Lightning's is?
Oh, like 100.
14.
Okay.
And the Cybertruck? 7.
Yeah, I was going to say not much in the Cybertruck.
Yep.
But this is still a usable front trunk.
This is a comparable middle of the ground up there with Rivian, but this has the low floor, unlike Rivian.
Easy to entry to load, and there's a power port in here, which Rivian doesn't have. There's NEMA 520.
Yep.
So the GM guys are awesome as I put this down, and they were like, we want more off-board power. And I'm like, hell yeah.
Great.
So you can already do 30 amp, 240 volt, many kilowatts out of this thing. It's got plugs everywhere. Not as many as Ford, I don't think.
Nope.
But still plenty. And yeah, this storm is coming, so we will close the front trunk. How do we do that?
It's under there. It's hidden in the grill right there.
Okay, nice. Gorgeous looking truck.
Yes, this is a lot better looking than the work truck, I think. Partially because they integrated the grill better. The work truck's just like, oh, black it out.
Yeah, so anyway, we've got 24s, we've got running boards now, you've got keyless entry where you can click the little button on all four doors.
Let me just zoom in behind you and see the light bar coming down the road. Yeah. That looks nice.
So this is a little bit of a shock, is this tonneau cover. First of all, before we do that, let's get to the tailgate, which you can fold just this bit if you're gonna have like wood sticking out. Mm-hmm. And you can even do, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people into trucks know this multi-tailgate thing, but you can configure it in a million different ways.
Multi-flex tailgate.
Which you can even do the double click. That's the trick. And then you can go in here and you can even option speakers in the back as like an accessory, like with the kicker thing. You have a, well, here, let's roll this tonneau up really quick. You have like a little step that you can get in. So you could go, you know, foot here, grab here, and in you go. And I actually think this is a better implementation than Ford's.
Agreed, yep.
Because this doesn't really mess you up as much.
Ford's is pretty wobbly.
Yeah, and you can put the Ford up as a spoiler though. Yeah. So if you ever are like trying to mess with people like at auto shows, every time I see an F-150, I take the ladder out and put it up like they got, you know, their racing spoiler on there. So you have this whole tailgate step situation. If you look in here, you have all the power outlets. I can open those up for you, Jordan, so we can see what we're working with. So there's our NEMA 1030R, I believe. Does it say it? No, but 240 volt, 30 amp. It says 7.2 kilowatts. And then we have 4 NEMA 520. So it is pretty comparable to the F-150 Lightning.
In the back. The Lightning has a lot more in the front, but yeah.
Even though it's about to rain and lightning, I want to.
Speaking of lightning.
Speaking of lightning. I don't like this tonneau cover.
Yeah.
The Rivians that folds automatically, the Cybertruck that goes automatically, much better.
Yep.
Much better. But you can, of course, keep this off. It's raining. I want to do the Midgate. Yep. So how do we do the Midgate?
Let's see how intuitive it is. Because
okay.
They said things are intuitive with this truck.
Okay, so I'm pulling here. This folds up. What is this?
Is that your charger?
This must be your EVSE. We are definitely going to get wet. Yeah, so 32 amp, NEMA 515. That's, of course, 12 amps. And then this will be 32 amps on the NEMA 1450. It's not a 40 amp mobile connector, which if there was a vehicle to ship with a 40 amp mobile connector, it should be this one. Also, does this come with any free charging programs?
You know, I don't know.
Okay, me either. So we should put the headrest down. So we've got the seat. Oh, you got to remove the EVSE.
Oh, and move it somewhere else.
This is kind of a cool seatbelt holder, by the way.
Oh, right there, yeah.
Yeah, so you can put your seatbelt right in there. Okay,
I'll go on the
now,
other side.
Yeah. I think we got to fold that seat down too, Jordan.
Okay, first one. Oh, there's the Bose sub.
Yeah, I told you there was a sub back here.
There is a sub. It's just not very prominent.
Okay, nice. Holy shit.
Okay, it does. That's right. That holds that in there.
Right, and does this pop out?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and this slides in right here.
Oh, really? Perfect. Oh, it latches.
Look at that.
Oh, that's how I would drive all the time.
Yeah,
what?
just leave the rear window out.
Absolutely. And then there's this button here, and you got one there, and this folds.
So that's really not too bad.
Oh, that's not bad at all. That's amazing.
And now we have 10 feet, 10 inches with the bed down, I think.
We got to go sit in this thing. Are there heated seats back here? Yes,
Yeah.
and vents.
Yep.
Let's get inside.
Oh, God. It's coming down.
Windows up. So that was the tour of the Silverado.
Yep.
We're gonna roll with this thing open.
Yeah, let's see how wet we get.
Yeah. Inside the cabin, it's very similar to the work truck. I mean, the materials are a little bit nicer. Yeah, we should definitely go with the air-conditioned seats. You get the digital rearview mirror, which I really like. The stupidest position for hazard lights, because you reach up in an emergency, you're like, I don't know which one I need to hit. Save our
SOS
soul.
or tell people around you something's wrong.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter either way at that point. Something's going wrong. You have a pretty deep center console. There's also no CarPlay.
Yeah, no CarPlay,
Or
no
Android
Android Auto. Which I wonder how people feel about that.
I don't care. They said you can put Spotify on here.
This is a good screen too, so it's fine. 17.7 inches.
This is a really nice screen. It's super snappy. Boom. Boom. How do we get to the app downloads? Play Store. Let's see if we can download. You can put Waze right on here.
Nice. Spotify, first one.
And you can even put YouTube on here too.
Yep.
So as long as it has those things,
that's really fine then.
You can watch out of spec and listen to the best music streaming service, not sponsored.
I'm an Apple Music guy, but is there an Apple Music app?
Let's find out. What other apps? There's iHeart Music. Plug shares right in here. How about that?
Nice. ChargePoint.
You can even get the Chevron app. Stream your favorites. Radio, FM, Audible.
So in theory, it'd be in here. I saw Amazon Music. They even have SoundCloud.
Tidal.
But I'm guessing no partnership with Apple yet.
Dang.
Well, I guess
so now Spotify is loaded up here. So I can log in and I can scan the login using PIN code. Oh, how about that?
Cool.
It should pop up. There we go.
Nice.
And then I can get my Spotify right in here.
And then we can really test the sound system.
Let's do that. The sound system in this truck is not bad. It's actually amazing at low volume, but it is all up here.
Yep.
There's no like speakers in the roof, like even Lightning has. All the other trucks have like this very enveloping sound experience.
Yeah, these are just microphones. So it's all a very forward soundstage. Even central, there's not much spatial side-to-sideness. And the sub is very small, as we just saw, and under the seat.
You've successfully paired your Spotify account. Rock and roll, baby.
Nice.
There we go. We can put on Little John.
Kyle's a big man of taste. So here's my issue with the sound system. You only have a 3-band EQ. You don't have separate sub control like you do in the Tesla.
Can I pull that up right here? Yes.
Yeah. So if you have, like, this is how Kyle likes it.
Well, you need it in this truck because the bass is pretty weak.
Yeah, but I wish you could pull the sub up more, because with this, sometimes these woofers are too boomy.
Right.
Even though you're trying to crank the sub, which doesn't have independent control.
Totally agree. It's like the sound systems, like, I just wish they put a big boy system in this thing.
Yeah, it's a big boy truck.
Yeah,
big boy
Cybertruck's got the big boy system.
Yeah.
Rivian, at least pre-refresh Rivian. You know, when they switched from the Meridian to their in-house one, got a little bit worse. But my truck has the Meridian. It's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, I mean, the sound system is fine, but if you really crank, and if you, like, want to blow the windows out of the car next to you, it's not one of those.
Yep.
But it's acceptable.
And, you know, opposite to Cybertruck in a way. So it's 17.7 inch screen. Cybertruck is 19 inch.
But, like, they don't do anything with these inches.
Yeah, in random inch, but they have another screen and then another screen.
Right, head-up display. And I can adjust all of the details in the head-up display and everything like that. There's also some really nice displays in here where I can adjust from a driver assistance menu to more of a calm menu. This is the only one that actually shows you your state of charge.
Yep.
Which is kind of a bummer, but at least it does show state of charge in percent, which most Ultium vehicles do not.
We gave feedback on that, but it would be great to show state of charge. You know, like when you're using Super Cruise and looking at your...
Yeah, like this is the menu I kind of want because it resembles more traditional gauges, and it shows state of charge as a bar, I guess, over here.
Yeah.
And it also shows your estimated miles till empty, but I would just want to know like the exact percentage.
There's plenty of room on this screen. Even like right here could just be like permanent state of charge. Like just
shouldn't be hard.
Something.
Yeah, but I think with a lot of the nerds driving this truck, you're going to keep an OBD in here to get the temperature data and everything, because they don't even give you battery pack temperature. They don't give you motor temperature, which is something every other truck does. Yep. Every other electric truck. Yep. So they're really limiting the amount of information that they're giving you here. Other things this software can do, Jordan. I'm glad it has all of those things. You have cameras, so you have 360
pretty
cam.
Great cameras.
Do you think they are? Let's take a look. It's hard to say where we are right now.
I'll take them over nothing. I seem like they're decently high quality.
Yeah.
They're not using a lot of the screen real estate.
What does this one do? Vehicle with a timer?
I don't know.
I don't know either. We have a lot that we need to learn when we get this thing for a week. Top down, vehicle, guidelines, okay. Anyway, it's got cameras. It's got a trailering menu, which we showed you when we were towing, but you can like save your trailer and it starts to learn it and make a profile. I think they recommend an 80% daily charging limit on this one. So you can come here and you can say charge to, we're right now at about 60%. I think they recommend charge to 80%. Obviously the lowest is better for the battery pack. They really like to be around 30 to 50% for long term. Just go up to 100. Cannot charge to, by the selected time. Okay, that's, well, we don't need to, we can set it to charge now. Be ready by 3:15 a.m. And then you can also, sign in with your Chevy account. You can schedule things, which is great. This is a vehicle you may want to consider charging off peak just because it is such a big battery pack. And you can manually precondition the battery pack, or of course, what we found works better with this is to use the route planner, which works amazing. So if we put in Fort Collins, so we can go to the office basically. Let's go here, Fort Collins, Colorado. Loving the big display. It's really nice. And the tech in this truck is great.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, we have harped and ragged on GM's software issues like no one else. And they deserved them for a lot of it, at least, because it's been a long time coming. But, I mean, look here. They've mapped out all these charging stops for us to get there.
And it even shows, like, before they popped up, it was like, here's the end of your battery. Like, this is where you'll die.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. I mean, I can hit remove charging, and it should probably come back with that.
Yeah, I think it should. Yeah, it's still loading.
There we go. End of battery range.
Here's where you'll die. Right by Chicago.
Don't want to die on the south side of Chicago. Let's not do that.
But it is cool, and that's like, I would prefer Apple CarPlay in many vehicles, but if they have great mapping like this, Google, then I'm fine with it. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. This mapping system is fine. My only request would be to say, hey, let us get to the charger at lower state of charge. So like give us an out of spec mode or something that's like, I want to get there at 3%.
Yep.
We're going to have to close that Midgate before we start driving just because it's loud with the rain.
Yeah, it is.
But dude, I mean, before we get into all the details of driving, can we just mention, like, for a lot of people, this will truly be the only truck that works.
Yep.
It is so big in here. To me, it feels like the right size. I love a big vehicle. A lot of people live in the middle of the country. They're not in coasts where you have to squeeze. Like where we live in Colorado, this is no problem. The rear steer makes it super easy to maneuver. You have no start button. You get in, hit the brake, hit park, you leave. Comes with a pretty good app. Like they really have nailed a lot of stuff here.
Yep.
Which, about time.
Yep.
About time. Seriously. So I'm very pleased with this truck overall. I think we can get into, like even you driving it earlier today, we can mention is we have some issues with the ride.
Yep.
We have some issues with the noise and rattles and stuff like that. And so did other journalists in their truck, so it's not just us.
Yeah, not just our truck. And I think it is a Midgate thing. I mean, if you have a panel that's designed to just unfold itself, it can't be as quiet. It just can't.
Maybe.
Maybe. Or it takes a lot more cost engineering, but to keep this truck at this price, they didn't do the really high-end materials.
Yeah. Yeah, so like all of this through here, right? Like this is all just empty plastic, but you just see the deflection when you start pushing on stuff. There's like no force or weight behind anything up there. And like that's something you're not going to touch, but when you hit a bump and you start to see flexing in materials, you go, oh, here comes the GM-ness.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, it's $100 grand. I don't really want that stuff. But dude, 7.5 degrees of rear steer, we should just kind of start with that.
That's pretty great, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully looks like maybe the clouds are going away, at least in that direction.
Yeah, I can't tell what's coming towards us.
I just want to show the viewers, if I go full lock, look at this.
We're just like rotating. I mean, it's not quite Hummer impressive, but it's like...
Yeah, Hummer has like 10 degrees of rear steer.
Yeah, this is 7.5, so we're not quite there, but
there's
still...
the turning circle. You can show everyone that loop. Hopefully it picks it up.
That was our turn earlier.
Yeah, really not bad.
44 feet, I think. 45 feet.
Which this is still a big vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing, look at how far back it goes.
Oh, it's like, yeah.
And one thing that the guys mentioned was, in terms of drive modes in this vehicle, they wanted to do like a sport mode or something more aggressive and more fun, but like GM Trucks doesn't really allow that.
They're restricted by their existing brand image that can't be altered.
Right.
And I don't think that's true. You could have just added a sport mode here on the EV.
Right.
And it wouldn't disrupt your gas trucks.
Right, but in my mode, you can customize your steering. So like we have it in the least aggressive steering, but if I go sport steering, they mentioned they now completely change how the rear steer interacts, where it weights up. I wish I could get the aggressive rear steer with light steering is what I would want. But I could already feel like instantly there the rear wheels went whoop, and they do sort of not a one-to-one calculation, they do it based off speed and load, where they bring in the rear steer to adjust vehicle dynamics in real time. So while the front steering ratio is pretty slow and completely set, the only thing they can do is adjust the sort of a steering force on the front axle. It's not steer by wire, it's no adaptive. They actually can change the overall turning ratio of the truck in the situation with the rear axle steering. And to me, that's kind of cool. But it also means now knowing that, because we have lucky access to the engineers, I would want to keep mine in sport steering all the time, but I like light steering.
Yep. So you can emulate a sport mode by going into sport on all the things.
Right, so you go suspension, sport, which they're like, this actually is pretty sporty, which we'll have to try. Acceleration, feel, sport, motor sound, off. But then within any mode, you can also activate wow, which is wide open watts. And this forces the sound to be on. Otherwise, I would just keep it in wow all the time.
Yep.
But it is kind of an annoying noise that they play inside the cabin, which some people might like. We'll have to do a full launch. We'll try that, of course.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of what everyone needs to know on the software. I mean, air conditioning is great, typical GM, just like super powerful, always blows too hard in auto mode. There are settings for that kind of stuff. This is an off button, which I think we had an issue with in the work truck, where we actually needed to shut the truck off sometimes. And it's more like if you open the door and close it, sometimes you can confuse the truck and it thinks you're sitting inside and won't shut off, but now you can just go boom, off, which is great. You have a hotkey to get to all of your settings, which is wonderful. Within here, you can go through everything. You can't fully disable traction control. You can go ESC and traction control off to 35 miles an hour.
Yep.
And then it goes to traction control off and leaves ESC on. Everything else in here is pretty normal. Looks like it has some auto park. That's kind of cool.
So, great grab handles to pull yourself into the back. And as a 6-foot person, this is pretty great. The only thing, I mean, I love the glass roof, especially after rain. Like, that's pretty cool. I wish it just went back a little further, but I guess you're nitpicking at that point. But yeah, not bad headroom, but plenty of so much leg room. I kind of wish I had more like in the cushioning. Like, cushion's not great, back cushion's not great. It's just
You have a
not
cup holder situation.
not a super comfortable place. 2 cup holders. Yep, that's pretty normal. USB.
Look at the room that you have. No one really needs any more room than this.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, give me less room and give me more stuff back here, but then you'd sacrifice your Midgate situation. So, compromise.
Let me try it out. Here,
Yeah.
let me give this a go. This is my seating position, by the way. I'm 6'1".
Plenty of room.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's a little firm.
Yeah. Your head doesn't hit that thing, does it? No, not quite. That's good.
No. This is, you don't need any more.
No, plenty of room, just not
I mean,
super.
it's got to be the largest cab.
Yeah, I think so. If you sat in the driver's seat, you feel so far away from me.
Dude, I just love that you can like get a bed cap for this thing. Hopefully someone makes one and turn it into like the world's biggest Suburban.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Jordan, I'm going to give you a tour of the suspension. So right now it's in its maximum height, which this is more just to clear a small obstacle or maybe even help with getting a trailer on and off, things like that. So I'm going to go from maximum height to entry exit. Ready for this?
Yep.
I'm also just going to put it into neutral so that it doesn't get stuck on a parking pall or something like that. So it's dropping right now, slowly.
Very gradual.
Yeah, I mean, the Hummer system seems way beefier. The Cybertruck system seems way speedier with height increase changes. I really think this is a truck you're just going to keep in normal almost all of the time.
It looks good slammed though on these 24s.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the move right there.
So it's all the way down now.
That's the move right there.
So you just drive it in entry exit.
Yep. Get even darker tint.
Okay, nice. You can only get this truck in black, we should mention.
But there was a gray one up there.
That's model year 25.
Oh.
So all the model year 24 RSTs only come in black.
Makes sense.
Which, same like they did that with Hummer. They did that with Hummer.
Yeah. So it's like the original Ford Model T. Any color you want, as long as it's black.
The other thing I want to show everyone is the turning circle. So let me give you a quick demonstration of this. It has a pretty slow steering rack itself. So if I'm on center and I turn all the way left, it's 1 turn lock to lock, almost 1 and almost 3/4 from on center. And you can hopefully see the rear steer is going the other way. I want to also test to see how quickly it can respond. So if I go from lock to lock, I'll go as quickly as I can physically turn the wheel. And there's the rear steer, hopefully catching up. I'll go the other way. That's as fast as I can turn the wheel. I don't know how quickly the rear wheels are doing it. But I will say it's the first electric truck I've driven with rear steer that doesn't really give me the impression of having rear steer.
It's subtle.
It's subtle, but it's so huge.
It works.
That it's compensating for it.
143-inch wheelbase or something like that. It's
wow.
decent.
It's decent, yeah. But I will say, like, the work truck almost felt like we had more front wheel angle on it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay, let's go. They have like a little dirt road that we can go down. May as well check it out.
They call it off-road, but not off-road section.
Yeah, everyone's like, it's not actually off-road. So let's try it. For loose surfaces that require extra traction, such as grass, mud, gravel, and deep snow, provides the wheel slip needed for gaining traction. Resets when you turn the vehicle off. Haha, shift gear to L, if equipped. This one is not equipped, for more low-speed torque. And turn off ESC. Hell yeah, brother. So let's go this way, just see what the heck is going on. And we have it in off-road mode, which may as well, but I don't, so far we're just on a dirt path.
I think this is what they meant by
Oh
off-road.
my God, really? That's really funny. They have like a little amphitheater here.
This is cool property, yeah.
Yeah, amazing
I wonder what they do out here. A lot of random places where it's coned off, like a track.
Look at this. I'm going to go to the increased ride height, Jordan. It's getting serious over here, okay?
We're talking centimeters, folks.
Wow, you really notice rear steer in off-road mode, actually.
Really?
They said they didn't adjust rear steer in different drive modes, and maybe, again, I'm just driving it for the first time. Maybe I'm really just starting to get a feel for it, but that was pretty impressive, how nice that rear steer comes in.
See, this would look really good on that amphitheater, like photo spot.
We can go park it down there. There's nothing that says no parking.
True.
Look at this, like a little trail. Okay, it's better than I thought it was.
A little bit of an off-road situation.
Yeah, a little better than nothing. But certainly rear steer makes this big truck handle just fine. No issues at all. And we can even pull up, if we wanted to, the cameras, which you can program any of these to be hotkeys, by the way. So let's say I didn't care about my phone. I can put cameras there. And let's say I wanted drive modes instead of, I don't even know what that button does. So boom, drive modes, boom, camera.
I like
Love
that.
Yeah, and we have all of this right here. Oh, even a traction control off. How about that?
Wow.
Just little hotkeys and stuff. Man, GM software to me is not visually pleasing, Jordan.
Yep.
But it seems functional.
Yep.
The route planning is great. What more could you ask for?
A puddle, watch out here. You're gonna.
Holy smokes, guys, we're hitting
low.
mud. We're hitting mud. Whoa! There's a Silverado EV out there. I'd feel bad sending it on their lawn, but I just want to slide this thing around a bit. Here's where we can test the rear steer. So full lock. Man, it actually turns pretty damn well.
That's pretty good.
Hell yeah. So we basically drove up someone's driveway.
Sierra EV back there.
No way,
Behind
really?
the tent.
Is there?
Yep.
Skirt. We're gonna go check it out.
No one can see us.
Okay, I mean, they can't really miss us either. Oh my God, there it is, look at that. Can we even drive on this? I don't know. I'm driving down literally a walkway.
I got lost, sorry.
Whoa,
It wasn't our fault.
Sierra EV. Holy smokes, this is awesome. So this is the sister car to the Silverado. I don't know which looks better. I think the Sierra does.
I think I go back and forth. I definitely wonder if this is a little quieter and...
Yeah, I wonder what other little changes they made between them. The back of this one looks a little bit weird though, doesn't it?
Is that the folding midgate too?
Yep,
It kinda
folding
looks like
midgate,
it, yeah.
yep. Yeah, so this is basically the same truck.
I think I like the Silverado looks a little more.
Okay. I think I like the Sierra a little bit more.
All right. Well, that was a fun little sneak off the beaten path. By the way, getting into this thing, I really don't love the fact that... I don't know what I did with the mic. No, it's right there.
Right here. That's why I was so confused. Sorry. I was like, I heard you start talking. I was like, oh crap. This is one of the least professional car reviews we've ever done, Jordan, because we've already reviewed the Silverado.
It's kind of the more fun professional car reviews. I don't like that you have to keep turning on the cooled seat every time you get back in. It doesn't have any memory. Whereas Cybertruck in LA, I just left it cooled seat max the entire time.
So there's no keep climate on or camp mode in this vehicle. The maximum you can do is 1 hour, but you have to wait for it to ask you if it's about to shut off, is my understanding. There might be a way to force that on.
I think there's a way to force it into an hour, but then, you know, we mentioned that to them, like, oh, what about camping? And they're like, oh, well, you can leave it running for an hour, almost as if that was like a solution.
Right, but I'm like, okay, you camp for more than an hour. So pulling out of the event now, Jordan, we're about to head out for the first drive of the Silverado EV. So let's have everyone join us out on the road. Should be a pretty good time. First of all, I just have to say, like, the materials of this are so much nicer than the work truck.
It is, yeah.
But it feels, I don't want to say worse built, but there's like little rattles, little things. The Midgate feels like it just feels a little bit more rattly and not as well sealed as actually the work trucks did.
Which is interesting. And I do think that is just a issue with the Midgate. Not only issue, it's just that's such a cool design and feature, and with that comes a compromise.
Yeah.
And we found that compromise.
Certainly, yeah. So there's a few different drive modes here that we should talk about. If you're curious about all of like the one pedal driving settings, watch my work truck review. I run through each of those. It's the same for pretty much every GM Ultium vehicle, but if I come in here to normal, I can go into the one pedal driving settings, and I've just shut one pedal driving off. So when I lift off the accelerator pedal, it's just a tiny amount of regen at the moment. But unlike the work truck, this one has a paddle on the wheel. And unlike most paddles, this is not just an on-off. This is like a squeeze trigger. It's really nice. So I can basically just start squeezing on the trigger a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and you can see just how much more deceleration we get.
Wow.
And I think that is kind of cool. I almost want to drive with like one pedal driving off, coast as much as possible, kind of like this. It does 40 kilowatt regen, and then as I'm coming into like a town like this, just start squeezing a little bit on the trigger. And if you really need to slow down, I'm just gonna honk on this thing for a second. You ready?
Yep.
All right, so, and full grab. Whoa, stands on the nose. That's really fun. And so we've started to see Lyric has this. There's another vehicle that, can we talk about that one yet?
Well, it is funny that the
I don't think we can.
No, maybe not.
Yeah.
That's fine. It is funny that the paddle almost seamlessly goes into the buttons for next and previous tracks. So earlier I was like grabbing to find the paddle, and I was changing Kyle's Lil Jon songs.
I still think this is really nice to have this sort of rheostat rather than an on-off switch. For EV nerds, people will appreciate this type of interaction.
So they give us some nerdy stuff and then not others. Like, if you want to see state of charge in that screen, sorry.
Not possible. You just get like an average, like a bar, but rather than state of charge. So for me, I think when I was driving the work truck, I would keep one pedal driving in normal or high most of the time. And in high, it really is a lot of one pedal driving, but keep in mind, it's not all regen. So it will give you as much regen as it can until it has to blend friction brakes. And there's a blend point in there. The brake pedal will also add regen, and then it will bring in friction brakes. And the brake pedal is sort of a brake-by-wire, but it's not entirely. Mm-hmm. So they were saying that even if the braking system fails, you can go full extension of the brake pedal and it will divert to a hydraulic connected brake pedal, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a standard brake with a brake simulation for most of your braking. In pretty much any normal use case, the brake is just simulating a brake pedal.
Yep.
And sending the signals to a computer to then, give you as much regen as possible, and then some friction brakes for whatever the extra is. And same with the accelerator pedal. So they target the same deceleration rates based off of modes, regardless of how much regen or friction brakes you have to get. So for the customer, if you leave it in one pedal driving on high and you're at 100% state of charge, will still feel like you're regenning, even though you may not see as many kilowatts going into the battery.
Yeah, that decision, like many other decisions, were designed for customer ease, which is good, I think.
Old Series 1, how about that?
Wow. A lot of GM and Ford stuff out here, that's for sure.
Well, that's true, yes. So, yeah, I mean, I think the on-road characteristics feel instantly to me like this is it's a large vehicle, it's dual motor, it's actually primary axle front motor. So it's mostly front, and then the rear is an assist, which is kind of interesting. But when you drive it aggressively, we'll have to see if it feels super front-wheel drivey or not. Loving it so far, truly.
Yeah. And on this, very smooth pavement with gradual wafts, I think that's where the air suspension really shines. Whereas I think we got to go find some bumps.
So you had some issues with it earlier, and I felt them from the passenger seat.
You had them
I was
too.
like, Jordan, are we coming off the ground? And this vehicle runs 61 or 62 PSI in the front. So I think 61 and 68 in the rear.
Which is a lot.
It's a lot. And that was the minimum pressures they could go to handle the towing and payload requirements they had mentioned. And one of the downsides is that when you're on these little tiny bumps that the tire usually absorbs a lot of these things, it actually doesn't, and you end up skipping over bumps.
Yep.
And so even though we're on this big air suspension, single chamber air with a single valve adjustment in the damper, it does compression and rebound. Even if you have everything set to Tour, which is the softest, the big bumps are great and wonderful and rides really nice, but the little choppy stuff like the road, the expansion joints, or like a little where they patch the pavement, whatever goes on in Michigan that ruins the roads, it's not good over those at all.
Yeah.
And it's not just us. We were talking to a few other journalists, and they're all like, is this thing like not staying on the road? And I'm like, yeah, it just runs such high pressure that over, like this stuff, it's so aggressive.
And that's where the Yeah, so now it's getting ready. It's already preconditioning.
So, which is interesting because I have selected, the viewers will appreciate this, a supercharging station with a magic dock in Ypsilanti. Is that how you say it?
Something like that.
Yeah, and we're going there because I want to force Tesla into supporting high voltage natively.
And we are 21 miles from it, and we are already preconditioning.
Yeah, I'm also just curious to see what happens when you plug it into a supercharger.
Yeah.
Because we'll get into the nerd stuff on the battery pack, split pack, and all the other things here. So yeah, cruising in the Silverado, rear steer kind of stays out of the way in normal mode. I love how you can configure everything into my mode. So let me go in here. Let's go driving. Steering, they actually mentioned sport was probably the most fun and aggressive. Suspension, let's keep in Tour. Max acceleration, motor sound off, but I also want to drive it in wide open watts, which you can just leave in all the time. Doesn't do any preconditioning or anything like that, just gives you the over 700 horsepower. And I was like, why can't you turn the noise off if you're in WOW? And they were like, well, it's 700 horsepower. We want our customers to know.
They want the customer to know they're in full power mode.
Right, which is like, okay. Too much safety going on at General Motors.
Well, just have a big, like, you're in WOW mode on the display.
Yeah, just do like,
which it has a thing on there, but it's not, like, super obvious. It's like a warning light almost.
But, 700 horsepower and something that weighs this much isn't
crazy.
Compared to its competition, we're talking 800 plus horsepower.
Yep.
And the Hummer has 1,000 horsepower. So it's not actually that much power.
It's like the least powerful of the quote-unquote big four.
Right. But we're still talking big numbers, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll make our way out here and then head to the supercharger. Get on the highway, try Super Cruise, all that good stuff. Okay, let's rip it. Full send. Just full drift in the Silverado, baby. That was awesome.
Freaked out that one car that was looking at us.
Yes. We just came out. Okay, so you can have fun with this thing.
Good.
That's amazing. The rear steer really pushed it.
Yeah, that's
As soon as I got some lock on the wheel, it's just like, oh, we're going. And I just had traction control off. That was with stability control on.
Yeah.
So, I was grabbing brakes and trying to do stuff. Didn't feel totally natural, but dude, they like made this thing kind of spicy.
Oh yeah, the one engineer loves driving this in like maximum sport mode all the time.
Yeah, the lead engineer is like, I only rip this truck all the time.
That's great. That's like literally his job.
Yeah.
Cool.
So man, it freaking worked though.
Nice.
That's awesome. Okay. Nice work, GM. I mean, I think that's kind of important for crazy, silly vehicles like this. You should be able to have fun when you spend $100 grand on a 700 plus horsepower vehicle. Rivian lets you slide it. Cybertruck now gives you Baja mode. Fine, and this thing does too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So if you take a look ahead, you'll just see we're on these sort of B roads at the moment, and not much to really discuss, but I will say if I put my foot down, man, it does boogie. And you just got to be so ready for the corners, Jordan.
I can hear all the tire stuff just happening.
Yeah, you hear a lot of tread shaw just because the truck weighs 9,000 pounds. And so, but what's amazing is it weighs that much, but you can drive it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it seems good. And no one's behind us. Should we do a quick braking test?
I guess slim sidewall helps with that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of oncoming traffic. Let's find an empty road and do an acceleration and braking test.
Nice.
And if you guys felt an earthquake about a week before this video goes live,
That's what it was.
we slammed on the brakes in the Silverado EV. So the first thing I want to do is figure out what's the best way to launch this one. So we'll go traction control off, left foot hard on the brake. I have WOW mode on. Floor it with the right. It can't hold itself barely. And then off the brake. Damn. Oh, it's got a little torque steer.
Very gradual pull there.
And it just stands on the rear, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
you're just like, what? It's got a Hummer vibe to it.
It feels huge.
That's when you feel like, oh my God, we're moving like the weight of the moon pretty quickly. And what's crazy is they actually can keep a lot of front motor power here, but they do limit the torque output based off suspension angle to save the half shafts, kind of like Hummer.
Yep.
So let's just do another launch. I'm just going to mat it from a stop this time. So one pedal driving on high is insane.
Yep.
That's like hitting the brakes hard. So let's just go 3, 2, 1. Oh, just matting the throttles
Much
faster.
better. Sophion was right.
Yep, Sophion nailed it. 600 kilowatts there almost. 80 miles an hour allegedly. And we should do an 80 to 0. What do you say?
All right.
78, 79, 80, 3, 2, 1, full brakes.
Just freaked out all those chickens.
Dude, look at the skid mark.
We'll see that on the way back. So when you launched it, you sped the world up a little bit, and then we just slowed the world back down. So I think everything's normal now.
We might add a couple seconds to the year, though.
Well, I just saw some other lines back there. Maybe another Hummer's gone, or another Silverado's gone through here.
Holy smokes. Dude, that is hilarious. I think it accelerates faster than it brakes.
That's wild.
You could the weight of this thing is immense.
Oh.
Let's test it on dirt, yeah?
Yeah.
That's full brakes, by the way.
Of course.
I should do a braking test. We should film it here, but I'm just going to nail it. Ready?
Yep.
Roasting the tires.
Oh, the Watts.
Oh!
The Watts, wide open Watts. I always forget that.
This is the best thing with GMs is we're in a freaking pickup truck and we're just having the time of our lives. They really made these things actually so stupidly fun.
Yep. And
Wow.
they're great with these oh shit handles. Cybertruck notably doesn't have that.
Right, but I don't have one here.
You don't, but I guess you're hanging on the wheel, allegedly, supposedly.
Handling? Yeah, I mean, it's got
Big vehicle.
it's got some weight to it. I just love the braking here. That's full brakes.
Even on loose terrain. Low mu. Nice.
Amazing. This thing is hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
It feels so stout, too. Like, drivetrain wise, GMs always just feel like their electric cars have way overbuilt drivetrains. And man, you can't fault them for this at all. They put a pretty stout dual motor system in this thing. Batteries certainly can handle it because they use the 1,000 horsepower Hummer. So this thing at wide open throttle isn't even stressing the battery pack.
So I would love to have this like on track, full like DSC, everything off.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have to worry about thermals like some of the other trucks.
If I go here to see more controls and I come here to drive and park and I come here to this one and I go here, we should be able to a little front motor just kind of keep like constant angle going this way.
That long wheelbase.
Yeah.
Nice for drifting.
Yeah. It's so funny because it kicks on ESC halfway through. But you can like be an idiot with this,
Yep.
which is really fun.
You feel like a boss, and this is not even the trail boss. This is just, RST.
Is this real consumer advice or are we just having a good time?
Both can happen at once.
Okay, wonderful. So, man, on the big bumps though, it rides great.
Yep.
Really nice suspension, everything like that. It's just the small bumps that it has trouble absorbing. Like they just need to back off the compression tuning a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think if they had a dual valve damper that does compression and rebound, which Cybertruck does, Rivian has a crazy hydraulic situation as well. That's really interesting for sway control. But they also, I believe, have dual valve dampers in the Rivian. I don't actually remember that offhand. I did used to know this. I don't remember.
But ironically, it feels really smooth on this gravel road.
Yeah, we're not feeling anything right now.
This is awesome.
Yeah, so I think they did a great job on the suspension except for the small bumps.
Certain Detroit roads are not good for this.
And I think a lot of that is just down to the tire pressure.
Yeah.
But all this stuff is fine.
Yeah. So we have maybe some other tires and PSIs to test on our truck back home.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I think when we get one of these, I'd like to take like 20 PSI out of the tire.
That'd be
and just
interesting.
see how it feels. Of course, when you put load on it, you need to run these pressures. And GM would never recommend going for a lower pressure.
Yeah.
But I think it would help a lot.
This is edge case consumer testing.
Yeah. So now we're going to get onto the highway and do what this truck is meant to do, Jordan, which is big distance. At low speed, the rear steer is nice. We've already driven a lot of these at low speed, and it's, it's a big truck, but it's certainly capable. It's at low speed. You can drive it around every day if you want to. So, full power. You got to hang onto the wheel because there is quite a bit of torque steer. Stuff is flying. Is that my laptop?
That was your laptop.
It is really fun to drive this kind of aggressively.
This is cool.
It's
Yeah.
like driving a cruise ship, but it feels sorted.
Yeah. Like a high performance yacht.
Because they're open diffs, you just roast the inside tires. And so you just... All right, so let's go to controls, traction control. Oh wait, it turned itself on. So traction control on. We're gonna go into drive modes. We're gonna go into normal, which should turn wow off. Nice and silent now.
Oh, much better.
I am noticing not bad noise.
Yeah.
It's not that loud, but it's also quite a bit of wind noise.
Yeah.
I thought it would be quieter than the work truck, but I'm definitely hearing something back there.
Yeah, I do think it's the Midgate thing, which is, again, cool, but it's not quite as refined, I don't think. So it's not bad.
Just turned Super Cruise on, and we can adjust our distance, gap adjust, full Audi, put the speed up.
Just draft behind a pickup truck, get just 700 miles of range.
We wanted to do 1,000 miles in the work truck, but the weather came. But I thought we could do 1,000 miles on one charge.
I think we can eventually.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean, I think we just roll with the Sprinter with the doors open in front.
Yep.
And go on an oval track. Okay, so now we're cruising. I'm going to put the speed down. Let's see if it automatically lane changes us to the right. I'm going to put not the maps view. Here's our driver assistance view. Weirdly, it doesn't show vehicles around.
Only in front.
Only in front.
Yep, directly in front.
So it doesn't want to automatically get into the right lane.
It should.
Maybe because it didn't lane change to the left. Oh no, there it goes. I didn't touch it. My finger was on the thing, but I didn't touch it. So
about to, yeah.
It was about to. So it's doing an automatic lane change. And this Super Cruise system is great.
Yep.
I have a couple issues with it.
Okay.
It will not do lane centering on non-pre-mapped roads. But on roads like this, if you look ahead, it's just wide open and you can easily have lane centering. And they've also started to map B roads, which is great. But I would prefer lane centering all the time and then just maybe unlock the hands-free feature.
Yeah, with pre-mapped.
With pre-mapped.
That would be
That's
nice.
how Ford does it. I think that's probably the correct approach.
Yep.
And that kind of is the extent of what I don't like.
I mean, if you drive your Silverado like a real Silverado with like the one arm on top of the wheel, that blocks the thing that could see your eyes.
But you don't need to have your hand up here.
Yeah, no.
And it hasn't yelled at me yet, Jordan.
Interesting.
And this is the... Oh no, it's blinking at me now. So you can't go full Silverado mode. But this is just a badass truck.
Yeah.
You see this thing roll up and you're like, damn, that's cool.
Like, that's how you look rolling up, and that's cool.
It's a cool freaking vehicle. I like this thing. And I love how it's just so American. All the batteries, lots of power, big room.
like Duracells.
Here's a truck full of batteries. And honestly, it's so nice. I personally wish the quality was a bit better. Some of the materials, fit and finish, little rattles, NVH, like it's a little rough around the edges. And over bumps like that, even in normal mode, not so smooth. You can go smoother on the suspension. If we come here, we can go suspension. Oh, we're in Tour.
We're in Tour, yeah. That was Tour.
That was Tour. So we were even sliding it around with Tour suspension.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Which is fine.
But you don't need anything other than that.
No. It's like the Amira thinking, just Tour.
Yeah, just keep it soft.
But I don't know. I'd be curious to see the Sierra interior
automatic lane change.
Nice.
Yeah, the Sierra interior looked a bit nicer.
And I wonder if that'll be a lot noticeably nicer, like quieter, better interior.
I hope so. I hope so. But it's not much more money, so I'm guessing no.
No. Dang.
It's also a truck at the end of the day, but it's a $100,000 truck.
But you think of the Ford $100,000 trucks, and that's like a nice place to be.
Dude, the Lightning is so quiet.
Yeah.
Compared to this.
You're looking at like higher Lightning, or even high, Lightning doesn't even go to, what's the very top trim? That's the normal combustion F-150.
Yeah, 90
limited, yeah. That's 95 grand and just such a nice place to be, quieter, but I don't know, kind of less badass.
This is a cooler truck. This is a cooler truck than a Lightning.
Yeah, it is.
I love the Lightning, don't get me wrong, but this is way cooler.
Yeah.
And I just love how it's fast charging, big battery, big range.
Yep.
You can slide it around, be an idiot with it.
Oh, don't get me started on Lightning charging and software.
Yeah. But the software in this actually pretty damn good, dude.
Yeah. It gets a lot of things right. Did it just lane change again?
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
I'm just sitting here. It's just doing everything. Jordan, we're just coming into some of these bumps that we've been telling everyone about, these little cross the road expansion joint things.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're technically called, little things, but those are what you really feel, and it almost feels like we're skipping over them.
Yeah, I feel every single one, even before I looked at them.
Right, and so what's weird is on those initial hits, the suspension's not really doing much, but when you get a big undulation, then the truck feels really soft.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like they really just need to back off that compression on the damper, let it work a little bit. And again, a lot of that just comes down to the tire having so much PSI in it. But we noticed even going around corners that you would skip over a little bit as well. So that's just the nature of running high PSI in a vehicle, no question, right? That's not unusual. It's just odd that your luxury truck has that feel to it. So we're on our way to the supercharger. We're going to talk a little bit about battery voltages over there, some nerd level 9000 stuff. And I've never charged a double stacker GM pack before. You joined me at a Tesla supercharging station. We're actually next to a Rivian owned by a viewer of ours, dog trainer, super cool guy. Yeah. He was like, this thing is awesome. So what I want to do is plug it into a Magic Dock. Now, this is not going to be representative of the peak charging performance of this truck. If you want to know how the Silverado EV charges, we have a full video already on this channel documenting the charging performance of the 24 module 240 kilowatt hour gross 215 usable battery pack. And in that vehicle, we saw a peak of 370 something kilowatts, holds it a long time. It's amazing. And it's the same battery, same charging as the work truck. This is a 400 volt or 500 volt maximum charger, Tesla superchargers. And everyone's excited about going to NACS, getting NACS access and all this stuff. But the thing is, Tesla does not support high voltage charging natively at the moment. So what is this, 3C? I'm gonna activate that with the app here. This is just a Magic Dock station, so it's open for any public charger. The reason I'm here is to hopefully kind of illustrate how the battery pack architecture is laid out in this vehicle. So you have essentially 2 layers of battery cells on top of each other in this truck. Both are around 350 volt nominal, 120 kilowatt hour battery packs, essentially stacked on top of each other. When you are driving and using the vehicle normally, the whole truck is a 400 volt system vehicle. The motors run at low voltage, the AC compressor runs at low voltage, all of the high voltage components are 350 volts. When you plug it into a DC charger, like an Electrify America station or EV Go, one of the Ultium branded stations, the battery pack will actually go ka-chunk, and you'll notice we're charging and I didn't hear any contactor ka-chunk here. It will go ka-chunk and it will double the voltage. It'll basically go and wire those packs into series. And that's so that you can get high power charging with less current. So it can do 500 amps at 600 volts as an example, and you can get going and get 300 something plus kilowatt charging. And in this case, I'm just curious to see, it says 25 kilowatts, but I think it hasn't updated. 184 kilowatts. That's about the most you're ever going to see on a Tesla supercharger with this truck. And it's still not bad, but when you're talking 170 kilowatts dead, 160 dead, comes up maybe 200 maximum, well, that's where I would like to see a little bit more power. And that's not a fault of GM's product here. That is a fault of Tesla not supporting high voltage. So when you have a Silverado, you can come and use the adapter that will come with this vehicle. And eventually when it has native NACS, you can see it's in the native location. It's very easy to back in here, fits in a parking space, actually no issues. But your charging performance is going to be limited on version 3 and version 4 superchargers at this time. Version 4 superchargers are just the dispensers using version 3.5 cabinets in the background. Let's take a look here on the display, Jordan. Let's just see if it shows us how fast we're charging. Currently, no, but if you tap the brake pedal, Jordan, if you can reach in there, it should, well, let me put the key inside. Tap the brake now. There we go. And it should show, there we go, 182 kilowatts going in. So yeah, not the best, not terrible, but again, would really prefer to see real high power charging. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, it's fine, but this is a huge battery, so you'd still be sitting here a while. Like, it's easy to see 180 kilowatts and be like, wow, that's awesome, because like if your Model Y or something is at that, you're like, cool, you're fine. I'm ripping. Yeah. But yeah, not with the thing this huge. You'd still be here a while. It was cool to see. We pulled up, a Rivian was here, a Mach-E was on the other side, like lots of non-Teslas using these. Yeah, of course. And Detroit's probably the least population of Teslas. We've seen like 2 today. Yeah, I mean, until we pull up here. Yeah. But it's kind of like sacrilege to drive a Tesla in legacy auto world, if you will, or existing automaker. I don't really like the term legacy auto, but you can use this on a supercharger. It's fine. You're just not getting full power. So I can't wait until there's high voltage charging infrastructure from Tesla everywhere. Then this will work great. Cybertruck can't wait either. I mean, walking up to EA, pulling up to EA and doing 330 kilowatts. Meanwhile, on a supercharger, you can only see 250. And the reason the Cybertruck can do a little bit more than this on a supercharger is all of the adapters, the Magic Dock situation, they're 500 amp limited. Cybertruck will do 700 amps on these little cables. Not for long though. They start to overheat and they derate. Yep. So there you go, charging this one. If you want to know the full DC fast charging performance, we already have a video logging that. It doesn't need to go in this one. It's a charging beast, but it's also
not that impressive at a C rate level because it's such a big battery. It should be able to charge fast.
Yep.
And it does very easily. So I think we've done enough to understand the differences of the RST over the work truck, which we've spent countless miles in together. And no question, there's a much more expensive suspension package on this vehicle. There's more power. It's just fast enough to have fun with. It's really an enjoyable truck. But beyond the fun, this is truly a truck that you can buy and it can work. It has great thermal management, has great charging performance. Even on the supercharger, it holds high power pretty deep into the battery pack. But what you really want to do is, of course, run the battery low, plug it in at 0, ride a big charging curve at an Electrify America or EVgo high power charging station, or more networks that hopefully will be coming on soon like Iona and others. Ultimately, this is, for a lot of people, the only truck on the market that will work for them. 10 foot 10 inches when you fold the midgate. What is the bed without the midgate folded?
Maybe like 5.5 or something like that.
5.5, still pretty big. Yeah, pretty normal sized bed. Overall, it's just incredibly useful. Big ass battery, big charging, big storage, everything to the max. And I appreciate that. I love that. It's not for everyone. Don't buy this truck if you don't need all of this stuff. For many people, an old e-Golf or a Bolt or something is more than enough vehicle for them. But there are enough use cases out there for a big electric pickup truck to tow the lake to the or tow the boat to the lake.
Tow the lake, maybe. It's strong enough.
Yeah, maybe you could tow the lake too. But it was really cool to do some towing. And with towing that electric boat, we got to learn more about that in a future video. It's just awesome. It looks cool. I can complain about it, right? Fit and finish stuff I don't love. The NVH, it's a little rattly, it's a little noisy inside, it's a little harsh over small bumps. But Jordan, when you look at the space, when you look at the utility, when you think about, okay, the sound system's pretty acceptable, you get a glass roof, it's like a pretty nice place to be. It's a badass truck rolling up in this thing. The dude in the Rivian was like, damn, this is sick. No question it's a badass truck.
It looks cool. It's got a presence. You're right. The sound system is passable. You throw some Enrique Iglesias or Lil Jon on, just enjoy your Silverado.
Why are you making fun of my music choices?
No, that's what I listen to as well. That's why we get along. 24s do look cool, but that's a bit of a compromise to me. I would pick like 22s or 21, something like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Trail Boss version of this. I think that's going to be the one that appeals to me. Trail
Boss would be cool. Or this, I'd love to see this on aftermarket wheels, maybe some smaller wheels with bigger sidewall. And then I think
Martian wheels.
Hashtag Martian wheels. Let's get some wheels on this thing. And then I think that would be even better of a truck for me.
Yeah, I think they nailed it, no question, right? If you just ignore the little minutia of stuff that we typically complain about, this is a truck that they nailed. Absolutely home run. It's, we said that about the work truck. You've seen the comparisons against the work truck. This does everything the work truck can do. So, like for the money, I spent $20,000 more on our Cybertruck than this cost.
Yeah.
That seems like a bad decision. After driving this all day, I'm like, damn, my Cybertruck is the worst at towing in terms of range, has the smallest battery pack, has the worst charging curve.
Great software and sound, but then again, the software and sound's fine.
Yeah, I got Spotify in here. I mean, we could just go to Best Buy and put a subwoofer in the back of this thing.
Yeah, real sub.
Yeah.
That little Bose thing ain't gonna cut it.
That's not for me, at least. I mean, I have very high standards for a lot of subwoofer. It's sick. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter what we even say about this truck, Jordan. Like we mentioned, for many people who are going to use it like a truck, there's one choice on the market right now, and it's this. We could say it's terrible, it sucks to drive. People would still buy it, and it doesn't suck to drive, and it's not terrible, but we could say that. They would still buy it because it's the only electric truck that can go long distance while towing, can charge this fast, has Super Cruise, which is great, while towing.
So is this shifting a bit of the narrative? So right now, F-150 versus Silverado 1500, gas trucks, they feel like Nears makes it like pick your brand and go with it. But
and Chevy was very proud, right? So Ford it's the best-selling truck.
Yeah.
But Chevy was like, we're the best-selling truck with Latinos.
Yep.
So they have that market cornered.
And how crazy is that though? The gas trucks, it was like pick a brand, they'll both do the same thing. But with the electric trucks, it's crazy how different to me Lightning versus Silverado
They're not even in the same ballpark. But that's what's happening with the electric vehicle industry is combustion cars. Look at CR-V versus, I don't even know. What else competes with that? The Mazda CX-5,
yeah.
all of the other ones, right? So you look in there and it's like, okay, which one has the closest dealership to your house?
Basically, because they're all the same.
They're all the same. In the electric world, charging performance, efficiency, range, power, handling, huge spreads. We're in the Wild West of EVs, and you park this thing next to an F-150. Yeah, this costs a bit more, but it's like so much more truck. So I really think Ford has to do some updates to the Lightning. They need a long-range, big boy towing spec.
Yeah, it's a great truck, but for like the people who want to do the big truck things,
yeah,
this does feel almost Super Duty-esque.
The two-truck solution would be one of these and a Rivian R1T.
Yep.
Because the Rivian's a great daily. It's small, but it's nimble and fun. And then when you have to tow,
it's a beast.
Dude, this thing is so sick. I love it. I really love this truck. I was really considering maybe I should get one of these until I saw the GMC.
The GMC's cool.
They should not have allowed them at the event in the parking lot.
Maybe they didn't mean to bring them. They weren't like out front.
Yeah, they were hidden. But dude, that interior looked so much nicer.
Yeah, that's the move, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the move. But either way, Mary will be happy.
Yep.
Thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. Quick drive in this one. We're mostly here to film Equinox, which we're going to do tomorrow. I'm really curious. Maybe we can bring Equinox here as well and see how well it charges on Magic Dock. That's a low voltage car, so it should give us everything. Very, very enjoyable to spend another day with the Silverado EV. It's a vehicle we've helped tell the story on since the beginning. We've been able to drive it across the country. We've been able to tow with them. And now we've been able to drive the consumer RST big boy for the first time. Awesome.
I'd buy it, throw an Avalanche badge on it, call it a day.
Yeah, it's the Chevy Avalanche. See you on another one. Bye-bye.